I think it's best if you put your presentation up.
Mhm. Hi everyone, welcome today where we wait 1 minute 30 seconds to allow for the rest of the guests and the participants to come in. We're going to start by introducing yourselves, and we're very thankful to have you here. We hope that this webinar is a good information starting for you on what this program has to offer, what it has achieved, and what we're working together, and also better ways to involve yourself and participate and take the full experience of the program to help us advance sustainable consumption information. Could you confirm that you're seeing my screen very briefly? I think everything is okay, but just in case. Great. So while we give 1 more minute for everyone to enter the room, I'm really happy to meet you. I'm Kamila Kosa-Braslavsky, and the Sustainable Consumption Specialist at Consumers International, one of the co-leads of the program with the Ministry of Environment of Germany and the United Nations Trade Conference for Development. That is also joining us today with Arnaud present. I am also joined by my colleague Rafael Ponte, who will be giving a little bit more of detail of what the value is of this program to the partners. And we're delighted to have you. We represent the coordination desk of the Consumer Information Program. And we're going to be sharing today a little bit more of information of what we do every day and how you can participate. So the agenda for today, we will have a little bit of welcoming remarks actually before the introduction, and which are going to be shared by a really fantastic colleague from UNCTAD, Arnaud Izaguirre Villa, who's a legal officer and a specialist in consumer protection policies from around the world. We will be really diving a little bit more in deep for those of you who are new, or for maybe for those of you who your institution has been part of the program for a long time, but you as a person are new, so you can understand a little bit more what's the structure of the consumer information program, how is it organized. And then we're going to go a little bit deeper. Rafael is going to share with us today a little bit what the role of the partners is, how to engage. Again, for those of you whose institutions are new, who are interested in joining, or who maybe just need a little bit of a refreshing of the ways to engage with us. And then we're going to have two fantastic speakers today as well from our working groups. We're going to have the working group one with Bruno Yamanaka from ACATU, a civil society organization based in Brazil, who have been part of the program for many, many years, and Ivana Padierna from UNCTAD Biotrade Initiative, who's also the co-lead of the working group 4. And we're going to share a little bit more what are the working groups, what are they working on. Hopefully this will inspire you to join one of these working groups and join one of the initiatives. We're going to briefly discover as well what are the really most pressing upcoming opportunities that you can take part in. This includes a different working group as well, with collaboration of another program, and potential opportunities to connect at COP16 in Cali later this year. And before concluded, you will of course have a moment to have question and answers, and please post them in the chat as well. We're going to try to select them by the end and answer those that are the most pressing, or that maybe many of you have the same questions. So we hope that we'll be able to attend to that. Joining us today will be speaking, as we were saying, the co-lead representative of UNCTAD, Arnaud Izaguirre Villa, and then we will have a little bit later on two representatives of the working groups. So without further ado, I'm going to pull down my presentation. So Arnaud, you can share some brief welcoming remarks, share a little bit of your experience as a co-lead of the program, and then we can go a little bit more in detail. Arnaud, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Camila. Hello, colleagues, and welcome to our webinar on leveraging the benefits and opportunities of the One Planet Network Consumer Information Program. Think that consumers are a formidable force in the economy. About 60% of world GDP belongs to consumption. So as we face the triple planetary crisis, and the transition towards the digital economy, we need to make sure that consumers are on board so that they can play their transformative roles in markets, and that we can thus make markets work for both people and the planet. Here, you're right at the hub of everything that has to do with sustainable consumption and production in relation to consumer information. We have four very high performing working groups that you're going to discover very soon, and very easy way of engaging in the different work streams that we have. So basically, from your idea of what you can get and the multiplier effect of the consumer information program is a very short step. We are all here with the same goal, which is to ensure that sustainable consumption and production is a reality, and that we can really promote and protect consumers' rights to promote just, equitable, and sustainable economic and social development and environmental protection. But even if the goal is common, we know that we cannot do this on our own. We are very few, and we need to mobilize many more. This is why we put together this workshop, to allow you to really get acquainted with the way we work and entice you to participate. Start small or start big. We're here for you. I want to thank, of course, our panelists today that know the program very well, Bruna Yamanakia from Acatu and Ivana Padierma from the UNCTAD Biotrade team. They really know what it is to be in a working group. They know what it takes and also what is expected, so they can really answer any questions you may have. And of course, I want to thank the wonderful coordination desk colleagues, starting with Rafael Ponte and Camila Kos-Bravlaski from Consumers International, and Camila Reinhardt from the One Planet Network Secretariat. Without further ado, the floor is over to you, Camila. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Arno. This really helps us set the tone and understand a little bit what is it that we're going to be covering today. Please let me know, Maëlys, if you can see the presentation. So before going into what are the working groups, we're going to backtrack a little bit on what is the Consumer Information Program, where does it come from, and then who are we working with, and then we're really working a little bit more into, again, the key initiatives and working groups. So the Consumer Information Program, it's one of the 6 programs of the One Planet Network, which is the 10-year framework of programs to accelerate sustainable consumption and production. As you can see, consumer information is one of these. We work very closely together with other coordination desks from other programs, and we have joint initiatives, publications, and workshops with them as well. The One Planet Network is really the implementation mechanism, is the implementation body for SDG 12, and we're really working in a multi-stakeholder approach to build consensus, to build trust, and to really shape a network that can help us advance consumer information and other key areas of sustainable production, such as sustainable food systems, sustainable construction, sustainable public procurement. So this is a little bit the encasement of the program and our partners, key partners. Since we're here, we would really love to thank the 10-year framework secretariat for hosting these programs as well and providing supports throughout. Just let me see. One moment. So we are very proud of the Consumer Information Program. For those of you who are also unaware, this year has marked the incredible achievement and milestone of 10 years of the program. So the program is existing already for some time. We have built incredible best practices in the field of consumer information. One of our most interesting publications in those are the sustainable product guidelines for providing sustainable consumption. The guidelines for providing sustainable product information, which were also road tested with a series of companies a few years back. And we also have a really good, solid report on what it means to provide consumer information from the private sector perspective. I really encourage you to take a look at those publications. The overall, what is it that we're trying to achieve? Where are we going with the program? It's really about supporting the provision of quality, safety, really trusted information on goods and services. And the idea for this really is to both track the supply chain so that this information is disclosed, and inform consumers properly in a trust-building manner on what are they consuming and how can they consume better and more sustainably for the future of us all. And the aspirational target is really to provide credible sustainability, to support the provision of credible sustainability information. And we are one of the pillars of SDG 12. You can see, I believe it will be posted also in the chat. So you can see all of the different pillars and you will see the different programs that also embody it. So in this sense, as we were saying before, and we have had the pleasure to have Arnaud today representing also the colleagues of the program, this program is co-led by the Ministry of Environment and Nuclear Energy and Consumer Protection of Germany and the United Trade Development and Consumers International, which myself and Rafael today are also representing. So the structure of the program, and this is really important for us to explain, so as you to understand the different levels at which partners can take part and can engage with. So we have the co-leaders of the program, as we said, but then we have the multi-stakeholder advisory committee, which is composed by 22 institutions around the world. We're going to see a little bit more about who they are later on. Then we have 4 working groups that target different areas of consumer information. And then we have the overall partnership of the program. Managing all of this and providing support to the different structures of the program and the different activities as well is the coordination desk. And the coordination desk is composed by myself and Rafael Ponte, who are here today, but also as well Camila Reinhardt from the 10-Year Framework Secretariat, and Arnaud, who also very kindly provides support to these to this desk. If you have any contacts whatsoever, you can any questions, you can always contact us hereby, and you will have this presentation as well that will be shared with you. So as we were saying, the advisory board of the program is composed by a very good and diverse board or committee. And we have here civil society represented. We have also a few businesses, and we also have development agencies and member states who help us devise and think the long-term strategy of the program, what avenues of actions are the most impactful, and which ways do we have to really drive consumer information on sustainability forward. And in this moment, I'm going to give the floor to my great colleague, Rafael Ponte. So what can you do as a partner? How can you involve? What are the opportunities that this program represents for you? Rafael, please share a little bit more on this. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Camila, and hello to everyone who has joined us today in this webinar. My name is Rafael Ponte, and I have been introduced. I work at Consumers International, Sustainable Consumption coordinator, and also a member of the coordination desk for this program. In this opportunity, I would like to share with you the ways in which our consumer information program is advancing together, making significant strides in promoting sustainable consumption and production through collaboration, innovation, and communication. So our program benefits from the leadership of international agencies and the active partnership with civil society organizations. And this collaboration offers a unique platform where ideas are exchanged, input is gathered from a wide range of stakeholders, and best practices are disseminated globally. One of the key resources supporting this effort is the Consumer Information Program website, which I have shared some minutes ago, and it serves as an information hub. The news and story section is regularly updated with current initiatives, with projects, with ensuring that the stakeholders are always informed about the latest developments in the program and from its partners. Additionally, it is an open platform where all partners can publish their news, share their outputs, and highlight key research findings. Our reach extends far beyond our immediate partners, with a network of over 1,800 experts on sustainable consumption and consumer information. We ensure that this knowledge that we are generating and the progress that we are driving forward is shared widely. And this is amplified with some channels like our newsletter that has been sent just recently, and where our partners can feature their updates and stay engaged with the program itself. Moreover, our commitment to collaboration is evident through our webinars, through our events, presentations where partners can join, can take an active role, can provide input, of course, as guest speakers, and even propose the events themselves in their own networks and their own regions of work and action. It is through this shared leadership and open communication, collective action, that we continue to drive sustainability forward. If you are not a member yet of the Consumer Information Program, we invite you to become one. The process is very simple. There's an online form to be filled up, and these are we're going to share the links if Camila has not done it just now, because I've seen some chat bubbles popping up. And if you want to know more about the process, about the partners and the working groups where come next, you can also reach us via email as it's being shown in the screen. That's all from me. Thank you very much, Camila.
Thank you very much, Rafael. Indeed, we have posted a little bit on what Rafael was sharing, so you can access the links as well on the chat. You can access the Knowledge Center if you want to take a look a little bit of our publications, and the link to join if you're not a partner already is also in the chat. For any other queries, as Rafael was sharing, please do send us a quick email and we're happy to respond. Let me see. There we go. So now we're going to share a little bit on, I'm sorry. One moment while I fix this. We're going to share a little bit more on the working groups. And as you will see now, we have 4, and we mentioned them, and those go into the 4 pillars of the program and our key priorities. The 4 working groups, here we go. Thank you, and apologies for the technology issues. The 4 working groups are formatted in a way that each working group has 2 co-leads that help drive and serve as the secretariat to the activities of the group. And in this sense, what the group focus, they have annual plans, and this is decided collectively as well by the members of each working group. And you have, if you are a participant of a working group, you can also, of course, suggest activities or suggest specific lines of work as well that are to be presented to the group. And then based on these propositions, the group takes on their activities for the year. So we have 4 working groups, and we're going to share a little bit more of details of them, but just so that you have a quick idea. The first working group is on providing product sustainability information in and of itself. So what does product sustainability information look like? What are the attributes that it really has to account for in order to be effective and impactful and trustworthy, which is also very, very important. And the different avenues, we have a few publications on product sustainability information and different products and different types of products that are very useful if you haven't read them already. And we're always driving a little bit more and zooming in different areas and different industries. We have a working group 2, which is on type 1 eco-labels. And this really zooms into how consumer information on sustainability is included in the eco-labels, how are the eco-labels compounded for different products, and so forth and so on. The Global Eco-Labeling Network is a great co-lead of the program, and they have a really wide network of eco-labels that also bring forward topics of discussion or key developments, innovative developments in the field of eco-labeling. We have the working group 3 on product lifetime extension, which really looks a little bit more into planned obsolescence, product lifetime, right to repair type of principles within the field of consumer information. And then we have the working group 4 on biodiversity and consumption that really looks into how can we better connect the impacts on biodiversity and how our consumptions impact the different biodiversity hotspots around the world, and how do we communicate that to consumers? What does communication about biodiversity look like? And how can we really do something about lowering impact or threat to biodiversity and ecosystems in general on our consumption? So this is in general, this is topics of the working groups. Right now, I really want to give you a very brief overview. The working groups are on the website. You can zoom in as well on what is it concretely that each working group is working this year and some part of the next year for certain. So right now, working group 1 and working group 2 are working on sustainable public procurement and how can the states, when they have procurement of goods and services, drive demand for sustainability, and what role does eco-labeling and sustainable procurement have in driving demand for sustainable products, and also how are these communicated to consumers and how is this information being shared in general to the public. The working group 1 is also working very strongly on misleading and greenwashing, misleading claims and greenwashing, how to avert that, how to avoid it, how to regulate it, and what are the best practices in that sphere. The working group 2, more zoomed in on the sustainable public procurement, are also working in the 5 Latin American countries. It's the Eco Advance project. You can Google it, or we can share it also in the chat, but it's everything's on the website. And what is the experience of the 5 countries with public procurement and a regional eco label, which is Alianza of the Americas. And how is this eco-label being incorporated, and how does it perform, and etc. It's really interesting project. I really encourage you to take a read in our website. Finally, the working group 3 on product lifetime extension and circular economy is looking at actors mapping to influence legislation. So they're really currently doing a broad, very in-depth mapping on what are the key actors that need to be reached out to, that need to be involved in order to have ambitious right to repair, lifetime extension, and circular economy standards and regulation in the world. And then we really have then biodiversity and consumption. That is the working group that works a lot on, currently has 3 endorsed projects. Basically, all 3 of them working with different products, but really tracing down what is the impact of consumption of different products on biodiversity. How can we improve this? What role does information have there as well? And how can we drive demand and encourage consumers to engage in less impactful in terms of harms to biodiversity consumption? We have the Nature-Friendly Consumption Project, we have the BioTrails from Adelphi as well, and we have the Biodiversity Fast Tracking Initiative from FSC. So this is really what are they working currently, and a little bit on what each group is working in general. But what we really wanted to cover in this session today is the experience of being part of one of these working groups. What does this look like? What kind of opportunities? You can see now in the screen that the working group 4, for example, is participating as well in the Biodiversity Cup in Cali, and the working group 1 and 2 as well. We're going to share a little bit more on that towards the end today. We have a few side events that you're all very much invited to join if you're going to be on site. So we really thought about inviting who better to share with you what it means to be in a working group and what opportunities are there that members of these working groups, in this case colleagues as well. So we're going to share a little bit, we're going to share the floor with them so they can tell us in their own words their experience being part of the working groups, and how to take part as well. What are the opportunities? So with us is right now Bruno Yamanaka is, as we were saying, based in Brazil. He's part of a civil society organization called Acatu that has been a member of the program. They're also on the advisory committee, and they have been co-leading multiple working groups by now through the years, and we're very excited to give him the opportunity to share his experience. Bruno is an environmental engineer that has 5 years of experience already with working in System B for Brazil and B Lab Global Network. And he has been also part of the coordination of the working groups for already 4 or 5 years as well with us at the Consumer Information Program. So Bruno, the floor is yours. We're very happy to have you share your considerable experience actually in coordinating and supporting the working groups. The floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all. And thanks, Camila, for the invitation. Very good to be here. So yeah, briefly, so my name is Bruno, and I work as a content specialist at Akatu Institute, which is a nonprofit organization that works to raise awareness and mobilize society around conscious consumption. And as also Camila mentioned, we've been part of the program a few years now, and we are members of the working group 3 on product lifetime extension for more than 5 years. And we were colleagues for a couple of them. And now we are together with UNEP as the co-lead of the working group 1. So we've been with the program for quite a long time. And briefly on the working group 3, over these years we developed many outputs together with our members as reports, infographics, case studies. We organized webinars, we translated relevant materials, and many other things that were really great in terms of experience. And on the working group 1, as we have great material related to the guidelines, we are now working on the work plan with all the members and everyone involved to try to disseminate these guidelines and more in the upcoming years. We're trying also to apply them to high impact sectors. So we're in conversations also with the food sector, and we are mapping other stakeholders from other relevant sectors. So we really want to make the guidelines even more relevant than they are now. So we're developing this work plan for the upcoming years. And to tell a little bit about my experience and all the contributions with the program and being part of it over the years, I think that I can highlight many outputs and that are related even to my personal growth or also to Wakatu Institute. But just to mention a few of them, I think one of the main ones is about networking and partnerships, because we're constantly interacting with other organizations from all around the world, from different sectors, public sector, the private sector, and etc. And that allows, of course, creation of a valuable network of contacts, and which result potentially in partnerships in the future. I think it's very important also to have a global vision, because we start to look more globally instead of just looking at a national basis here. We have this international perspective that helps us understand a little bit more of the global trends of the global market. I would mention also the diversity of perspectives, because as I mentioned, we interact with people from different countries, from different backgrounds, and that can enrich a lot discussions and also promote more creative outputs, because we have many different point of views. One important thing also that I think it's very relevant is the diversity of projects, because one great thing about the working groups that they always trying to promote a space for exchanging knowledge, for exchanging experiences, and to give the floor to members so they can present their initiatives, their projects, and their ideas. And with them presenting those, that generates a lot of learning, and usually it inspires other members, other institutions. And it also indicates that there are many initiatives around the world promoting positive impact and helping with the sustainable lifestyle. So it's very good to see that, because usually we are focused on one thing or another. Maybe we're looking more at the national level or the countries that are near around us. So having this global diversity of projects is really, really relevant. So we can even, besides partnerships, we can even try to replicate this in our country. And I think last but not least, one of the things that really caught my attention during these years is the development of case studies, because the whole process of interviewing the initiatives, understanding the nuances behind a business, its premises, the barriers, the challenges, solutions, the partners involved, and also the growth of that business over time. Usually we have a relationship with them over the years, so we can see that growth. And it's an extremely rich process, although it's not simple sometimes, but it's really rewarding to talk with them, to understand them, and also to give the floor to them, for especially those small businesses that are still on initial stages. And that provides also valuable insights in both personally and professionally for everyone involved, and as well for the organizations, for the members of the working group, and etc. So I think basically from my perspective, in all these years involved with the program, they have brought and continue to bring invaluable lessons and resources to both me and NACA2 Institute. And that I think that's why we're partners of the program for so many years, and we expect to keep engaging more and more people in the organization to join us. So we'll be happy to have always more members on all the working groups, and talking to on my side, especially on the working group 1. So many thanks, and for being able to share a little bit with you.
Thank you very much, Bruno. That's correct. We remember the case studies that were produced and were specifically supported by ACATU 2 years ago, and we still really often go back to them to learn from some of the lessons and insights that those interviews and those experiences gave us, especially in terms of barriers, but also in terms of what does enable specific actors, small businesses, and civil society to take action. We just posted one of the examples on the chat, but feel free to also research, but not research, but delve a little bit more deeper. There are many others case studies that were published in that sense, and they're really interesting. They're on fashion and electronic specifically, if you're working on any of those areas or both of those areas recently. So thank you very much, Bruno. We will now go to our next speaker, who is the co-lead of the Working Group 4. Ivana Fadiana works at UNCTAD Biotrade Initiative. She's an international communications and trade and biodiversity specialist. She's very busy this current time organizing the trade day at COP Biodiversity in Colombia, Cali. So we truly appreciate carving the time out to be present with us today. She has quite some experience both in communicating and advancing different initiatives that connect biodiversity and trade. We all know the impact of consumption, and specifically also on trade and trade routes on biodiversity. So it's very important that they are part of the program and help us tackle the issues that we have, the challenges that we have in that sphere to lower impact on biodiversity. Ivana, it's a pleasure to have you here. We're very happy to hear your thoughts on being a working group co-lead and what does it mean to be part of the Working Group 4. Thank you, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Camila. No, it's my pleasure, and I thank you, the organizers, for inviting me to share my experience with all of you today. As Camila introduced me before, so I am part of the Biotrade Initiative team at the UN Trade and Development. We are co-leads of the Working Group 4 on Biodiversity and Consumption, together with the Forest Stewardship Council, FSC. So today I would like to share my personal opinion as having worked more on the sustainable production trade side at UN Trade and Development, Biotrade. This program allowed us to learn more about the different initiatives working on biodiversity and consumption. So of course this is relevant because it's to address the biodiversity crisis. We all need, so it's all society that needs to join forces, and especially us as civil society consumers is a key actor that can generate this transformative change, as they cannot adopt practices and use the buying power not to protect biodiversity. So for me, this program it provided really a great learning experience from experts and different organizations about the existing approaches, priority areas, practices, projects that are currently advancing sustainable consumption. Particularly, I had the opportunity to participate at the Multi-Stakeholder Advisory Committee meeting that took place in Berlin this past July, and it was a very rich, interesting opportunity to meet many of the members in person and exchange and learn more about the different options and also common perspectives on how to most effectively deliver this global effort to achieve sustainable consumption and production systems. Personally, I would like to note that for me, the exchanges that were very valuable were first the exchange on how to inform consumers and retailers to reduce this intention gap when it comes to make more informed, sustainable choices also in different countries. So it was interesting to hear the perspectives. And also I found the different projects presented on this topic were particularly interesting to hear. So being part of this group, it also opened for us, for UNCTAD, to identifying potential synergies and collaboration, building partnerships, also seeing what are the priority work streams and keep up to date on biodiversity and consumption related work that has been done by different stakeholders, and also see where not to duplicate efforts on biodiversity and consumption work. These synergies that I'm talking about, this is seen, for example, with the collaboration opportunities with some of the working group 4 members to advance our work on trade and biodiversity, including biotrade on key areas of work such as standards, statistics, communication to consumers, to name a few. Cooperation took place and is actually taking place in activities such as the development of a 4-pager on sustainable consumption, informing on implementation on the Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework Target 16, and also, as Camila mentioned, the ongoing preparations for the CBD COP16 Trade Day sessions that we are organizing together with CBD, WTO, and UNEP. So in particularly in such momentum for biodiversity with COP16 fast approaching, the working group has been a source of inspiration, I have to say, and collaboration opportunities for activities. And this includes sharing knowledge and contributing to information notes related to consumption, biodiversity, and target 16, particularly ASO 15. And as well as bringing this the consumer perspective into the COP Trade Day activities that we are organizing. This also includes the organization of a hub session on sustainable consumption and production that will take place on the 24th October. Trade Day is on the 26th October. So the working group provided this very timely opportunity to strengthen policy engagement through the development of these joint activities, and also disseminate our work in support of the implementation of the GBF. We have, I'm very happy to say that we have very active members currently developing several activities in this regard. It's true, one of the main outcomes of this group, of the Working Group 4, it's the Biodiversity and Consumption Communication Toolkit that we have in our website. And regarding, so related more to COP16 now, we have delivered a position paper, policy brief, implementing GBF Target 16, addressing biodiversity impacts of food consumption. It's a paper in which collaborated many members of the group. We have also, I mentioned before, the 4-pager on sustainable consumption. We also had the UNIA 6 side event. We are collaborating in Trade Day activities. And we also have some side events at COP. Some of the members have side events at COP. So as I'm saying, for us has been, particularly now in this momentum, we are seeing great opportunity to collaborate, and we are really joining forces, and our work is being has more visibility and hopefully more impact towards achieving the targets and goals of the Global Biodiversity Framework. I think that's in a nutshell, yeah. But also, I wanted to share a little bit. So on our side, so on UNCTAD side, what has been the contribution to the program, so or the working group, just to brief a little bit. So Being part of the program has enabled me to bring into the discussions these biotrade experiences on trade, biodiversity conservation, sustainable use, combined with this pro-development angle in sustainable consumption and production. So how trade policies instruments can support biodiversity conservation through enabling more sustainable, biodiversity responsible, and inclusive choices by businesses and consumers. This is a little bit what UNCTAD we are doing. We know that achieving more sustainable and inclusive consumption and production systems globally cannot be done without enhancing the capacity of developing countries to implement them. So in this regard, we contribute with guidance on how to foster affordable access and more sustainable and inclusive production practices, as I said, trade-related policies in developing countries. We have some examples for that, but in this policy brief that I mentioned that we developed, so whose key measures, the key measures outlined to achieve a nature positive and equitable food consumption. These include providing affordable access to credit and technologies, and particularly for developing countries to enable the implementation of sustainable and resilient food systems. And this includes infrastructure to minimize post-harvest food waste, for instance. So this is an example of how we also brought our perspective to the overall work of the group. And I think more or less that's it. Yes, I have to say that in general, the experience as a member and colleague of the Working Group 4 has opened several opportunities for cooperation in future work on trade biodiversity issues, and including biotrade that what we are working on. And that's it on my side. I want to take also this opportunity to thank the program's coordination desk, Camila Kose and Camila Reinhardt and Rafael, as well as my dear colleague Arnaud, because all of them has been proven to be a fantastic team that offer great support when needed. And of course, I thank FSC as the other colleague and all the members of the working group, because they have been really supportive and always have a lot of motivation and keep up the good work. So that's on my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ivana. We will now we will share a little bit of what's coming next. So you're really well tuned on the really immediate opportunities. We have a webinar next week and some events at COP that we're going to share. But I really didn't want to miss the invitation to ask questions. If there are any questions, we know that we shared a lot of information today. If there are any questions, please post them in the chat or in the Q&A. Of course, if you don't have questions right now, but you have questions later, you can always reach us by email as well. So really, what are we doing right now next? So for anyone working in the space of e-commerce, we really want to invite you to next week's webinar on good practices in the e-marketplaces and e-catalogs in terms of sustainable products and providing sustainable product information. So the links are there to register or to learn more. There's a summary on the website. You will be also able to access that, and we can share that in the chat, but the PPT will also be sent to all participants. I will be featured as well as the presentation on our channels. So after the webinars next week, we have really good opportunities, and these are a good materialization of what it means to be a member, an active partner, or a member of the working group. So we can host and propose webinars, much as like the one that is coming up, but as well, we do have two side events from the program at COP16. One, it's really on Target 16, sustainable consumption, and the other one on leveraging eco-enables and sustainable public procurement. Now, these side events are really planned within the working groups. We also reach out to external stakeholders that are not part of the member, but the thought and the design and the presence are outputs of the program and of all of the partners that are actively taking part. And we really invite you, if you're going to be inside, reach out to us. We would be delighted to meet you as well and share a little bit more. The second side event that is in the lower part of the screen also has the policy position that will be presented, and we're also going to be present at the Trade Hub that UNCTAD is very kindly organizing and co-organizing. We're going to have a session there on the 23rd in the morning as well. So you're very much invited to share, and we'll have speakers from across the board in order to discuss these really important topics, and we'll really aim it at candid conversations so that really the audience, but also the speakers, can learn something and take something out of the events. We also have, and this is more of an pipeline project and development that we're currently working on, a private sector engagement working group that will be co-managed or co-planned with another program, with the Sustainable Food System programs. So if this is an area that you're working on, that your institution is thinking about developing or growing in the next year, please do get in touch, and we will be delighted to also keep you posted on the development of that working group that is in process. We have a newsletter where, as Rafael was mentioning before, you can also post the news on the topic. And this is also features on the website. Partners of the program can upload themselves any publications, any activities that they're doing in the realms of consumer information and sustainability. And we, of course, also have the 10WFP, the 10-year framework of program social media and YouTube channel, where you can also see present and past webinars on different topics. And that's also another way in which we try to reach broader and broader audiences through the years. I want to give a moment in case any of my colleagues also have anything to add, anything that we may have missed. You do have our contact, both the email cicp@un.org and the coordination desk details are on the website as well. You're welcome to reach out to us in case you have any questions later on. Are there any questions from the audience, or do any of my colleagues want to add anything before we close? Maybe we missed something, or perhaps there are other opportunities that could be flagged as well. Yes, Mariana, I don't know if you're allowed to take the floor. Maybe you have to type, I'm not sure. If our colleagues, Miley, can we give the floor to an attendee? Try, Mariana, go ahead.
I can try. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for this overview. It's very helpful. I belong to the category of ECOS has been part of the program for a while, but I'm new, so this was super informational. Thank you so much. And I just got a bit lost at the end, and I wanted to see if you can just talk a bit more, and sorry if you already said it, about the collaboration with the Sustainable Food Systems program.
Yes, very happy to. So for the record, and just to give a broader perspective, we collaborate with the different programs for events, for webinars, for conferences in general. So there are ample opportunities ad hoc or in different products. One of really concrete example of that is that the policy brief that we developed on consumption and impacts on biodiversity for this COP was also co-shaped with the Sustainable Food System programs. So if you see at the branding, you will see that this has both of the programs logos, because we worked on that together. Now, to the future, this is one example of the collaborations that we have done so far. In the future, we are also looking, and this is in progress. So if you want to partake in that as well and give your inputs, you're welcome to flag this to us as well. But to the future, we're looking to have a working group that goes between both two programs, that is co-led by the two programs, and that really specifically targets the private sector. We're really talking businesses, we're talking businesses consortia, we're talking best practices. We do have the guidelines on how to provide product sustainability information, very solid publication. We keep hearing questions and keep presenting them. But we are looking into drilling those guidelines, drilling those recommendations and best practices targeted to the food systems. So what does best practice on consumer information on sustainability for food products and services look like? So to specify a little bit more on that. what activities and what that engagement will look like is currently in the pipeline. We're having those consultations and those conversations now. So if this is a topic that you're very interested, please do flag it to us, and we're very happy to have you on the list as an upcoming member of that working group as well. So this, again, examples of collaboration that we had so far, and what we're looking into drilling a little bit more in the guidelines on sustainable food and food products. So that's a little bit what we're thinking and where we're going with that. We didn't put any more detailed information because we're devising, again, it's in the pipeline, but you are very much welcome to send us a quick email and say that this is an initiative that you're interested in, and then we're going to make sure that you keep informed and invited to any activities or any materialization of work plan that we'll have for 2025. Does that make it a little bit more clear?
That was super clear. Thank you so much, Camila. We'll definitely follow up. Thanks.
Thank you. Good. Anyone else has any other question or comment to add before we close? If there are no further questions, just to flag as well, for example, Sonia was telling us that she will be also present at COP16, working on the correlations on life cycle assessment and biodiversity and consumer information as well. And they will be delving on agribusiness and biodiversity. And yes, thank you very much, Ivana, for that. So before concluding, we also want to flag Ivana Padierna and myself. We will both be present in COP in Cali, and will we be speaking at these events that are currently featured in the screen. But we are also very much looking forward to connecting in person and on site and discuss further on potential initiatives and avenues of work. So if you're going to be there, please do flag it to us, and we're going to make sure that we find a way to meet you and potentially to meet also other partners and other working leads.
Camila, sorry, just one thing, that the Trade Day Hub session, Sustainable Consumption and Production, is on the 24th. Yeah, but yes, that's it, just for better reference. I also put it in the chat, but yeah.
I apologize. I just noticed also the typo on the PowerPoint. I apologize. We will correct that before we publish it. That's correct. The Trade Day and the Trade Cup Hub, apologies, is on the 24th. And we'll have a session there in the morning as well, discussing these topics. So we hope to see you there if you are, and if not, please do follow the outputs and the recordings of the events. We'll be touching point on things that we're sure all of you are working here. So thank you so much to everyone for taking part. Thank you very much for the questions and also the comments in the chat. And we do look forward to see you and to see your news on the website, on the newsletter, and hopefully as well on the working groups and other events and opportunities that are coming up forward. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great rest of the day. It was a pleasure to see you. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Have a good day.